Welcome back to the Early Show with Matthew Tanoto. Our guest star today is none other than Celine, an expert in the field of education. Now, she'll be joining us today to talk about how COVID-19 has impacted the education sector.
Good morning, Matthew. I'm glad to be back.
We're glad to have you back. Let's just cut to the chase, shall we? Schools throughout the world have been on a break ever since early of March 2020. Now, how has this affected the education sector, students and teachers to be specific?
Yes, Matthew. As we've previously talked about, this home-based learning has been extremely hard on all of us, but our students have been faced with a specifically rough journey, and many are struggling to adapt to the continuous changes. Just 2 days ago, the CIE board has announced that they will be canceling the IGCSE and A-level examinations for the 2021 academic year.
Wow. Now, how has is this experienced all throughout the world, or is it only experienced in countries where cases are growing exponentially?
This is where it starts to get tricky. The CIE is canceling examinations on a case-to-case basis, meaning only in countries where the government has clearly stated that in-person examinations are not allowed to take place. For the schools in these countries, the students will be graded using a teacher assessment approach instead.
Do you think it's fair that some students will have to go through the in-person examinations while others don't, considering the fact that students haven't been to school and received proper studies throughout the whole academic year?
I definitely disagree. Students all around the world have equally been having a hard time balancing school and their at-home responsibilities all year. And yet some of these students will have to go through the usual, more difficult route of evaluation instead. I think this is a perspective that was overlooked by the CIE, and I think it's extremely unfair on the part of these students.
So what kind of effect do you think this unfair assessment will cause in the long run?
Well, from here on out, I think it's crucial that we put an even bigger emphasis on the fact that grades aren't a true representation of ourselves and that they shouldn't determine one's future. We have all been hit very hard by this unprecedented situation, and it has caused many of us to change. In the end, our health should be prioritized above all else.
Well, that was an informative session, Celine, and I completely agree with you. I definitely learned a lot as well. Well, that's all for today, folks. Once again, thank you for joining us on the Early Show with Matthew Tanoto. We hope to see you soon.